Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Minna an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, and I am truly grateful to have my co-host, Minna. Hey Minna.
Back at ya. Totally grateful for you.
So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This episode is coming out on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving 2018.
You may or may not be listening to this while you're prepping for family to come over or on a car ride, or you may be listening to this after. But first off, I want to start with saying that this is going to be our grateful episode. So how we practice gratitude and some tips to bring gratitude and gratefulness into your life, and really to just take a minute, stop for a second, and just thank all of you for helping us live this dream. So this past year with you has been incredible, and we are so grateful for our listeners and for the clients that we've worked with one-on-one, for our masterminders, for everyone in our community, and really just for entrepreneurs as a whole and the community we're creating together.
Yeah, this is going to be our all things grateful episode. And we are so number one grateful for all of our listeners. And just, it's been life-changing. As far as, I would say that's one of the top ones on my list of what I'm grateful for this year is that the podcast has been such a gift. I mean, it's been so many blessings as far as reaching more people and connecting with more people. It's had changes in my business life, my personal life. I get to talk to Jacqueline all the time and kind of get paid for it in a way, which is a dream come true. And just, feeling like I make more of an impact, and it's something that I love to do, I've realized too.
Yeah, I agree. So, and I also want to actually shout out to some of the people that have helped us along this year, right? Mm-hmm. So Natalie Ekdahl from the Biz Chicks podcast, I would say thank you to you.
She's like our mentor for sure.
Mentor, friend,
so many
everything.
Things. Life changer.
Really, because she connected us. So thank you to you. And then also to Shelly Warren. And she actually has the Stacking Your Team podcast through Biz Chicks, and she works there. But Shelly is one of our biggest supporters, I swear.
She's so warm and she's so loving. And she's like, every time I see her, I want to give her a hug, and I did get to see her at Biz Chicks Live, and I gave her multiple hugs. So it's just been so fun and so exciting. And then she's such a genuine cheerleader that it just makes you feel like you can do so much too. And she's just the perfect, so she's on Natalie Ekdahl's team. So they're just the perfect combo, I feel like, as far as a change the world, make a big impact duo.
And online, she's commenting on our posts. She listens, she comments to us. So thank you, Shelly, because we are grateful for you. I also think some of the people that have been on our podcast this year that have really helped propel us forward. So thank you to Natalie Gingrich. Thank you to Tyler J. McCall. Thank you to Coach Glitter, aka Tiffany Lee Bymaster. Who else would you like to thank?
Kathleen Coble, my Amazon, other half, basically. And I don't know. I can't remember all the people that have. This year has been a whirlwind, and I can barely remember last week. I can't remember when episodes come out and what's been going on, basically. But yeah, I think that's a lot of them. And if we forgot you, we're so sorry. We are very appreciative of all the people that have been on.
All of them, but just. Thank you. All right. So we're going to jump into gratitude and how Minna and I practice gratitude in our own lives, what our sort of our own little meditations are or lifestyle hacks, and then maybe some tips for you guys. So Minna, do you want to jump in?
Sure. I very loosely practice gratitude, if that's a good way of saying it. But I think that I'm in that moment of reflection right now. And I constantly am. Like, I'm just that type of person that reflects often, inwardly and outwardly. And I think that's just a big part of my personality. So all throughout the year, I'm able to look at the things that I want to change and the things I want to keep. And I do it by looking at lots of categories. So, like, I look at my marriage. I look at my motherhood experience, being a mom. And then I look at my house. The house is definitely separate. And then the business, and then my own self. So many different categories, right? Because there's a give and take and a pull between all of them. And, one doesn't net into the other. So a lot of the times I'm, trying to practice and be grateful for my marriage and my kids and, my business. And I just am okay with like not being as grateful for my house stuff unless it's, I guess, I don't put the pressure on myself to have this perfect house, I guess, And so that's one of the things that I do is just, if I were to outsource, it would be in the house, right? And not, I guess I kind of outsource with the kids because they're in daycare, but you know what I mean? Like, I just look at each one, reflect on each one, and then see where I need help with each one.
Mm-hmm. So I do try and practice like meditation and gratefulness, and it's not always forefront, because it's hard to keep doing daily. So I was recommended the 5-minute journal. I think you can get it on Amazon. I think we actually have it on our Amazon page, but it's a journal that helps you reflect, and it takes only 5 minutes. And so sort of some of the things that it says in there, like some of the questions it asks. So it has you do it in the morning and at night before you go to bed. So it's hard with little kids. So when I can do it, I do it. Otherwise, sometimes I do it all at night. But has you first start out by like saying, I'm grateful for, and then it usually lists about 3 things. And then what would make today great? So kind of setting an intention for my day, and then daily affirmation. So like, I am beautiful. I am, what's another one? Like, I'm grateful, or whatever your affirmation is for that day. It can change every day. And then at the end of the day, it has like what happened today. So it's kind of like a reflection time, right? So 3 amazing things that happened today, and how could I have made today even better? So it comes back in and says like, well, what could have happened? So it could be like, I wish I was more tolerant of my kid, like I didn't scream at them, or I wish, a lot of times mine is like, I wish I went to bed at, when I say like, what would make today great? Going to bed by 10 p.m. And then as I'm writing this at midnight, it's like, what would make today great? That I went to bed at 10 p.m.
Yeah. I think we do the best that we can. It's that moment of reflection for sure, because that would make tomorrow great then, right? Is if you went to sleep at 10 p.m. I don't call it meditation. I call it waking up in silence. So I'll do a lot of silence. Like, I love silence. This is something I learned about myself after a while because my husband sings all the time.
Oh, really? Mine too.
It's constant, and I love silence, and I need silence to focus. So I will take time out for myself for silence. And some call it meditation. I call it silence. And so like in the car, I don't even have the radio going. I'll have it silent, if my kids aren't in there and they aren't playing, the DVD. So it'll just be silent. And then I wake up in silence. So I just try to like be awake and be, I guess you call it meditating, right? Because you're not thinking about anything. So you're not thinking about anything, no affirmations. I'm just enjoying the silence. And that's because we lived in a very quiet household. We tiptoed around all the time. My parents taught us to like open and close the door without making that latching sound. I know this sounds so crazy, but it's like what I'm so used to. And what I enjoy is like quietness, but it's never quiet here. There's girl screams and girl yelling is, the life of having little girls, which is great and wonderful in its own way too. It's just that I know that I love silence too.
Yeah. So I think obviously figuring out what works for you, but I think just a little bit of reflection, even if you guys just take the time this holiday season to, because a lot of the people that we're working with and that are in our community, it's sale time, right? It's like that biggest time of the year, but also taking a minute to breathe. Even if you're feeling down or if you're feeling up, just taking a pause and saying, like, just using some sort of gratefulness. Like, I'm grateful that I can be this busy in my business, or I am grateful that I can have my own business, or, whatever it is, just taking a pause for yourself for a moment and just to be present in it and have just gratitude for the fact that you took these risks and you're doing it, or you're about to start this business, or you're thinking about it and you're grateful that you do have the potential to think about it and jump into it. So just a pause. At this time of year, it gets really busy. We're around a lot of people. a lot of people, like more than sometimes people are comfortable with. And they're like, got to get out of here. Need my own time. So a moment of gratitude and gratefulness. And then again, like we said, we're so grateful for you guys. Like it's kind of unbelievable how our lives have transformed as well over this last year.
And I think that it's nice to think about the things that you would not be grateful for had you not been in this space and time to reflect on it. So an example would be like, so I was at Biz Chicks Live and oh gosh, you guys, it was so much fun. I felt so fulfilled and so like soul nourished and everything. And one of the things though is, I always talk about being an introvert and needing my own time, right? But the thing is, it was so much fun and I didn't have any introversion time because we did the in-person mastermind, all that stuff. And so then at the end of every single night, I would have to wait for Jacqueline because she's chatting with everybody. So homegirl shuts the place down no matter where she is, okay?
I have to be honest, this year, I think you were shutting the place down. I'm not kidding.
So to the story though. So I was like, every single time I'm like, oh my gosh, she has the hotel keys. I should just get them from her. So the next night comes around, same thing. We're shutting the sucker down again. And I was like, oh man, I'm so tired. I really need to shut this, I really need to just grab the key from her. But then when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that Jacqueline is such an extrovert and I'm challenged to be on her, comfort scale of being out because I had such a blast, you guys. I got to talk with Meredith Messenger and Kelsey of Knotted Wood. Those are two people I talked to at the way end of the night. I got to know Mary of Transitions Collective and also Jamie Lieberman and of course, Antonia of, I'm not even sure what her business name is.
Kitty Land. She's out of the south of France.
Land. And we had such a good conversation. These are things I would have missed out on, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, those really made such a big impact on my stay there of being away from my kids and being at the conference was the fact that Jacqueline is who she is. So I'm so grateful for that, of you being who you are. And I'm having to kind of nudge over to the extrovert edge of being like, okay, but because I could have gotten the key from you and just called it a night and been like, I can totally just have my me time. But I've been there, you guys. I've done that my whole life. And even when I went to Camp Climb where Jenna Kutcher was, so I went to this conference by myself. This was just like 2 months ago, you guys.
So proud of her.
I went by myself and it was boring because I didn't challenge myself to do anything out of my comfort zone.
Interesting.
So I go there. She does just a Q&A. I kind of meet new people. I'm just like, oh, blah. And, I just went and left and I felt like I pulled nothing from that experience because it was just like I was there, but I was not really present. And it was like I didn't challenge myself out of my comfort zone. And I didn't really even reflect on it later. Besides that, it was just like, oh, at that point, it was just a faint memory, Whereas I feel like with Biz Chicks, like pushing myself out my comfort zone, getting in deep and, talking with all these other women, being there with you and you pushing me to stay out longer and, not even just by being yourself,
without even realizing.
Yeah. You being you, I felt like it made such a big difference. And I'm so grateful for that. So just having those people that, it's like had I not thought, okay, in this moment in time, I'm reflecting on that. And gosh, I'm grateful that Jacqueline is an extrovert and I'm grateful that I'm learning more extrovert skills, which is normally not in my vocab, guys. I probably would never say that.
Thanks, friend. I think we've determined that you're an introvert with extrovert capabilities and I'm an extrovert with introvert because I do need my quiet time too, which is funny because we haven't really talked about this since. And I actually was sort of like, oh, okay, I can go back now. Like, oh, and then I would look over and you'd be chatting. And I was like, well, if Mina's still chatting, I should be going.
I know. And the funny thing is that when I was at Thanksgiving, I was like, with all my family members, there's like 50 people, right? And I was like, this is basically what practice I had was being around my family because I'm so comfortable with them. Mm-hmm. And so I can talk forever. It's just, it takes out a lot of energy from me. But I never translated that into the business world because I just never made the decision to want to. You want me to do more things, basically by being there. Cause I'm like, I want to be where Jacqueline is. And okay, fine. I'll stay out a little bit later.
And we did. There was
and it was worth it, a million times worth it. And it was awesome. So I'm grateful for that.
Thanks. And I'm grateful for like just all the other, I'm going to say female because some of the groups I've been in have been female entrepreneurs, but all the other female groups and female entrepreneurial groups that I've been a part of, including Finding You, Minna, where it was okay to be both, right? It was okay. It was one, to look at yourself as a business owner in a, not like, oh, I'm just kind of like making my way through and I don't know if I'm doing this right. And is this a real business, to being like, nope, this is a real business and I'm going to own that. And then also how to balance the mom life, the wife life, the business owner life. Now we've got multiple businesses where I'm able to see how other people do it and that we could be so free in discussing that, you know? And so it's like, we could talk about the challenges with our kids and the positive parts with our kids. We can talk about money, which a lot of people don't talk about. And they don't talk about that in a way that's not competitive with each other, but more of like, wow, she's doing it, I can do it too. You know, we freely discuss numbers in our communities that we're a part of. Yeah. And I'm just grateful for this group of women that have taught me how to be a mom and business owner in this year, you know, to like in 2018, 2017, 2020, I've had my business for 11 years. And I kind of just felt like I was like finding my way through and I didn't really know. It just in my head, it was like, well, is this right? You know, like, how am I going to be a mom and how am I going to do all this? And now I found it. And then like other women are there and we celebrate each other's successes. So
Yeah, it's like finding those other people that think really big when you've always felt like you think too big for a group. You know, I've always felt that way where I make some people uncomfortable a little bit with thinking too much out of the box or too big or being too risky or too flakish in their minds, you know. But in my mind, it's brilliant. And then when you're in a group that you feel good in and you're able to be yourself and they're the same way that you are, you're like, hey, that's awesome. What was your goal and how can I help you meet that goal? You know, and they're so supportive and so positive and so inspiring that you just have this added fuel. And then also what's amazing about it, since we're all moms and all business owners and all kind of just making our way through it, we all reflect at the same times too. You know, this is kind of the season of reflection for everybody. So it's nice because it makes you pause because you're like Natalie Ecto puts on an amazing event and she makes you write a word of the year. And so you're forced in a way, in the most beautiful way, to do these things for yourself, to reflect and see what you're grateful for, because then you have to reflect what you're grateful for and what you want to work on for the next year. The funny thing is that I used to have a New Year's dinner with my sisters all the time, and I would print off this thing that would say, so the previous year and the next year. So it was, what did you do great? For this year, it would be, what did you do great in 2018? And what do you want to do more of in 2019? And I remember one of the questions was, who do you want to be more like in the coming year? So like different things. I remember that one of the years, I remember that being the question because one of them was, I want to be more like my mother-in-law because she never yells, right? She never yells. Like the woman is even keeled, you know, like she just never yells. Whereas I'm kind of a yelling mom and I come from a yelling family. And so I was always like, oh my gosh, how can she keep it together all the time? And so that was one of the things. And I realized, you know what, it's just too hard. Like it has to be a balance somewhere, you know? So yeah. So what did you do well for 2018 and what did you want to more of in 2019?
So let's just go back to our words of the year type thing. I had a couple words. I had pivot and clarity. And so I definitely did pivot. Obviously, we launched this business full force, right? And the Product Boss podcast, because Minna and I have been tracking our years by BizChicks, actually. Like, go to BizChicks. We're like the advertising. But that's just the time that we get to meet and actually work on our business. And so from that, I think, and then clarity. So I really was able to find clarity in a lot of parts of my business as I was pivoting it and in my life. So what do I want personally? What do I want how do I want to be as a mom and a parent, as a wife? How much time do I want to spend in front of my computer? You know? And so for next year, I'm going to be working on balance. So I think I was working with intention. What was the other one? Oh my God, I forgot my word.
Where's your rock?
Well, my rock is still put away because I literally went on a trip. It's what's the opposite of scarcity? It's
abundance.
Abundance. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the word.
Well, that was fun. That was like a taboo game right there. What's the word opposite
to
scarcity?
I know scarcity, but what's the other way? I have no idea.
I know I'm scarce, but
so for me, I think for my next year, it's going to be finding balance. And what's interesting is a lot of, let's say, the women at BizChicks, when they were saying their words, had also been saying things like that. Like, I felt like people had put such intensity into their businesses this year that they felt like maybe they could find more balance or more room in their lives, like ways that you can still get everything done, but you don't have to be doing it all the time, every hour sort of thing. Which, when we interview Mike Michalowicz of Clockwork, the book Clockwork, it's very much about that too. It's not like you have to work all hours, all days to make it happen, sort of thing. So yes, that's me. How about you?
So my word was nudge. And I got that from us speaking and talking about how we nudge our masterminders in a certain direction, right? And then they get to choose what they want to do. I ended up choosing nudge because I went in something that was about being brave or courageous or determined or, bold, let's say. But I didn't like the words bold and confident and things like that. So I was like, what's a word that's kind of like that, but not like that all the time? Because I didn't identify with those words. And then I came up with nudge because I felt like that's just a gentle push in the right direction. So anytime I'm feeling like I'm going to say no, I can nudge myself to say yes and then decide if I want to do it. That's because over here, I am ruthless with my no. Like, I'm at a 90% no. I'm not kidding you. Maybe higher. Like, I say no to everything. And
except to me.
Yeah. That's the 5% right there. It's a big 5%. And everything else is no. So I'm constantly
like, hey, Minna, you want to go here?
Yeah. I know. And it's been great because I've been learning other things, but I've been seeing that I've been saying no to so many things. Like, I say no to class mom participation. I say no to my kids being in activity. So many no's, right? And not that I feel like I'm missing out on stuff, but at the same time, I should be better about reviewing those things too. Because I feel like my kids are getting into this thing where they're just like so closed off. And like, I definitely will still not be class mom, but I can certainly take them to more activities. Like, after
milk and cookies.
Yeah, like milk and cookies. So you guys, Layla had milk and cookies day today. It was on the calendar. And then I was like, what's going on? Is not milk and cookies day today? And the teacher was like, oh no, that was last week. And I was like,
You tried. You get
and she didn't cry that much, but I had sold her all morning. Remember, we're going to go eat cookies at Apple Tree. You're going to go eat cookies.
Poor girl, you're gonna have milk and cookies.
No cookies. And in my mind, I'm like, why don't I have any backup cookies in the van? Like, so yeah, I mean, I think I just would like to nudge myself because, like I said, I look in these different categories. I'm a yes a lot of times for my biz stuff, but a definite no when it comes to family, because I held on so tight to that time. It was my quality time with them. Whereas I think I could just kind of move out a little, expand my decision making on that one.
Yeah, ease into it. Like, maybe just one thing a month.
I mean, yeah, there's moms that they have a yes for everything and they hate it. And I don't want to be that mom either. So that's why it's just the nudge instead of the, absolute yes,
And you obviously practice that at BizChicks, because without me realizing, you were being nudged to stay out later and have incredible connections with people. So I think one thing I want to say is that sometimes we tell our clients this: pick 2 words for your business, right? So what are yours for little labels?
Cute and convenient.
Cute and convenient. Mm-hmm. So what if we all tried 2 words for ourselves for our new year, right? So I have intentional and abundance. And so nudge, what would maybe be a second word? Do you have to think on that?
Yeah, I definitely have to think on it. It's such a big decision.
I know. You're like, how do I live by this? It could even be like more fun, or
adventurous or something, because I've always said I'm not adventurous, but I could be more,
And it's so funny because you say that, but you really are like the places that you've been willing. So I think maybe it's like even adventurous with your kids, like things
Yeah.
that would push that because you have been independently. I'm not going to give you your words, but I think maybe a challenge for everybody. And if you want to jump on our Facebook community, we'll leave a link below. We will post something that will say like, what are your 2 words for the new year? Like, so we'd love to know what you're grateful for. So please share that with us after you're done cooking or visiting with family, or you're just
When
trying
you're
to,
in a food coma, just take
or
all this information in.
when you're trying to ignore people and you're like, as I do, I lock myself in the bathroom. 'Cause if I'm in the bathroom, they're not going to bug me. And then also maybe 2 words, like 2 words for your new year. Like if you were going to describe yourself as a brand, and that's how you're going to position yourself for that year. And if I can remember the word abundance, I'm going to live in abundance, and I'm going to be intentional with what I do with my time.
Yeah. And that's the whole idea of gratitude, right? The whole reason for putting gratitude in your life is one, to be more grateful, but that's obvious. But it's the self discovery part. So, what do you want more of in your life, and what can you get rid of? Some of the best things that you do in life are getting rid of things, and that might be people in your life. And it comes from being more grateful for the peace that you find with certain other people, or the positive things.
But I have to say though, looking back at my journal, because it turns out to sort of be like a diary, it's amazing the things that I kept putting out there and that they did come true. So it's like putting out the universe or the secret or whatever you want to, whatever kind of stuff you want to think about. But you're just setting intentions. You're just making sure that you're grateful. So even if it's a hard day, you find something positive to reflect on. And it really does shift your mindset. It really does reprogram and rewire your brain. So does a lot of turkey. That will rewire your brain as well. So I haven't even shared with you, I'm hosting Thanksgiving here in New Jersey because we're not heading back. So we actually have some friends from the city coming, and then one of our neighbors, he's coming too. And I think you all know that I'm like world's worst vegan/vegan. So we are going to make a tofurkey.
Oh my God.
We just tested it last night. We went to Whole Foods and bought one that was wrapped. It was actually delicious. But then we just found out that another person is coming and we're like, people are going to totally judge us for just having tofu. So I might end up making a turkey with my grandma's stuffing, and then we're going to have sides. So
you don't have to make a turkey. It is your Thanksgiving, If they come, they know you're vegan. So,
well, what's hilarious though are the people that are coming. He's from Sweden, and the other one is from the UK, and the other one is from India. And so they're not even having an American. Like no Americans are coming. So they should over my Thanksgiving because it's not even a tradition that they grew up with. So
yeah,
them fish, and that's how the Snyders do.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. If it had Indian spices, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So that's mine. What are you doing?
I'm doing non-traditional in the morning. So it's this one thing that's called like datsin. You eat, it's kind of like the tie-down version of Korean barbecue. So you make the shrimp and meat and stuff, typically beef on a griddle, and then you have the sides that go with it. So then sometimes like my sister will make like lettuce wraps. So think about like the meat and then
For
you
breakfast?
have a dipping sauce. No, that's lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
And then for dinner time, we go to my husband's side, which has a traditional Thanksgiving. He's married to, can I say white woman?
No, you mean where you're going?
My husband's cousin.
Say white woman? An American?
Yes.
Would that be the word?
Because usually I say he's married to somebody white, but it just seems like so much.
Not tie-dom?
No. So it's super traditional. So we're talking about turkey stuffing. She makes like baked apples with like, I don't know what's in there.
Very traditional American.
Yes, very traditional. And so it's like, green bean casserole and all that stuff, which we do. Like I just had my parents' side, my mom's side in Storm Lake. I went back to my hometown and we do kind of the Asian-esque version of that. So then it's like turkey, but we have lemongrass in it and like yams or sweet potatoes, but like, I don't know, like Asian-y a little bit,
Well, it's funny because just as a reminder, everyone, Minna and I are both first generation American. So also I was telling my husband, because he's like long-term American, like he's American.
Can I say white man?
He's generations back. So they do the sweet potatoes with marshmallows. And my mom would always be like, this is disgusting. Who has marshmallows? Because my mom's English and she cooks also kind of like very worldly and stuff. And so the stuff she would make, it was never like American traditional,
Uh-huh.
like my mom's like, well, I'm not putting cream in that and like
Yeah.
butter on this. And so it's funny because we're creating our own traditions for our family. So yeah, I told my husband, cause he's going to make a green bean casserole with like mushroom soup. My mom would never make that cause she would be like, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's like the Americans, they
Yeah. So I am grateful for all these different cultures and everything because
Mhm.
that is literally what it's all about. It's funny because like I always think, oh gosh, I should totally become vegan, but the food is such a memory to me for certain things that I could never be full vegan,
No,
right?
wait, you guys have like multiple pigs on a steak, like for
Yeah,
some
that's the
reason.
thing.
You could
There's no
never.
way. I could
You'd
never.
be ousted.
Yeah, they would be like, they would be worried
They
because
go move to California.
my sister-in-law is vegetarian, and you know how many times they're like, "Are you getting enough vitamins?" They just think vitamins come from meat.
It's like in my big fat Greek wedding when he's a vegetarian, they go, "You don't eat no meat?" I'm like, "Ma'am." But that was like Antonia. We were talking about her. She is in the south of France and she's actually vegetarian. I didn't know this about her. And we were talking about it and she said one time in a restaurant in France, she was telling them, "No, I don't eat meat. I'm vegetarian." Someone handed her a card for a psychologist.
I feel like it's so common though.
Not in France where she lives. So it just depends on where you are. So with that, I hope we haven't offended too many people.
I know. And we're grateful for you guys sticking with us. Lord knows.
We let you in on our on us. But happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy the time with your family. Enjoy this holiday season. Enjoy your businesses. Enjoy everything that you're doing. Again, we're grateful for you guys and we're just happy to be here.
Yeah, so thankful for you. Happy Thanksgiving. Really, really enjoy it. This is something that I told our masterminders too when I was going over the schedule of all the sales for Thanksgiving. So I'd go pre-Black Friday, Black Friday, Small Biz Saturday, then nothing on Sunday, and then Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, right? That's a lot. And I was like, but you know what? I don't even think that I'm going to do it because I just came back from Biz Chicks. It was my husband's 40th birthday. Now I'm going to holiday season and I'm just okay with enjoying this time. And that's the amazingness of gratefulness is that you can pick and choose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And we have a bonus episode for you tomorrow on Friday. So if you're traveling or, going to Black Friday sales and want to listen to something while you're walking around in the madness, hop on and listen. So we will talk to you all soon. And thank you again.
yeah, thanks everyone. Bye-bye. Hey there, still here? We want to invite you to our 2019 Mastermind, which starts in January. We've opened it up to 3 groups now to better serve our masterminders in startup, 5-figure, and 6-figure and above. We would love to have you in there to help transform your business into the product business of your dreams. Join other amazing product entrepreneurs for support, shortcuts, and real connection. Go to www.theproductboss.com/mastermind for more information and to save your spot.